What's up, everybody? Jason here, and I was kind of thinking of some things. Everybody's been doing these 2019 best of lists and everything, but I want to start focusing on 2020. I'm ready to move on. I'm excited for the coming year. I'm hoping for a lot of good changes. One being I just recently started a new job, and it's an okay commute, but it's still a commute. And as you can see behind me, my Sonic collection that was back in my cases and everything are packed away. I'm moving, or looking for a new place to move to. I've been in this house for 11 years, and it's kind of outgrown my needs. I'm ready to just get something different, whether it be a new apartment or whatever, or another house, or somewhere closer to work, or maybe stay in the same area that I'm currently in, because I still have a lot of friends in the area and I still would like to be close to them. Plus, I do have some family around here too. But my job too is my livelihood. I mean, it's full time. I'm on call all the time, and it's something that I enjoy doing outside of video game stuff and making random videos for YouTube like I'm doing right now. But I thought I'd share at least 5 goals for 2020 that I'd like to either start or complete. One project or projects that I started the last year that I wasn't able to complete, and some things I started at the end of 2019 that I'm continuing into 2020. So to start off, my first goal for 2020 is to cut out Vita game collecting. And this is sort of a cop-out. I've talked about this in past videos. I am ready to be done with the system. Thankfully, there's not much left to go. And it's becoming a burden. The fact that it's starting to kind of become, I actually see it happening with the Switch, where you have all these limited print games coming out from various companies, and you have to be there at the exact time, ready to go. They're going to be sold out in 2 minutes, and you're never going to have an opportunity to grab them again. And it's becoming very overwhelming. And I'd like to stop that. And I'll get more into that down the list more. But as far as Vita goes, I'm sitting currently a little over 320 games, which is well beyond my imagination they would ever get to. I was kind of thinking they would stop around the 200 game mark, and they went well beyond that thanks to certain companies that are just continuously, to even today, release Vita games. And it's been a hassle more than anything, and very stressful and full of anxiety to try to get all these. And it's not one of the past systems where I could easily say, oh, I'll pick those up later. I may pay a little extra in the long run, but if I really want them, I'll find some way to get them, be it through trading or whatever. And I haven't been able to really do that with Vita so much, because once they're gone, and they're no longer printing them anymore, and you're relying on getting them secondhand, and a lot of them are very, very expensive just because of the limited prints that they've had, or the ability to track them down. There are some games I haven't even seen pop up on eBay, or they're just in ridiculous ranges of pricing, which, like, Saturn collecting is outrageous, and I feel Vita's kind of in the same boat. It's really a niche system that is very hard to collect for these days. Unlike what it was, 5 years ago, where I can go to a GameStop and easily find a game for $10. You can't do that anymore. Or very few games are that low. And just kind of get out of that. But moving on to number 2, purging of games. And this is something actually I did last year, where I started to pare down things, and I'd like to do more of that. I have plenty of PS2 games that I found, or Xbox games, that I don't feel I'm going to go back and revisit. And or things that, I'm really big into collecting Sega, so I have a lot of non-Sega games that I don't feel I really need to keep anymore. They don't mean much to me. Or they're part of my backlog, and I haven't had a chance to get to them, so why keep them around? Obviously, if they're just sitting there, I have no desire to actually pick them up and actually go through and experience them. And I can trade them to friends or just sell them off and recoup some of the money from them that I can, which kind of goes into number 3, which is my other passion projects, like my arcade stuff or arcade projects. Um, Recently, with the fact that I'm moving and everything, hauling around cabinets is one. It's not easy to do. It requires not just myself, but maybe 2 or 3 other friends to actually move these cabinets. They're 6 feet tall and 3 feet wide, and 400 pounds each, and they take up so much space. And if I downsize and I go into someplace smaller or an apartment, I'm not going to be able to get those upstairs or into elevators easily. Especially with a lot of the houses I'm looking at, there just aren't room for them anymore. Not to say I'm going to get rid of all of my cabinets completely. There's a couple that I am selling that are ready to go. It's time to move on, which goes into the projects. I've been looking very hard into 3/4 size cabinets, like the size of the 1UP arcade cabinets. Something that I can drop a small PCB board into and be able to have that as my dedicated cabinet. It takes up less room, less power consumption, and I can easily cram those into a small apartment if I need to. Or what I have been looking at is do kind of a console arcade where I can take an Xbox 360, since I have a lot of digital games like The Simpsons, the Turtles arcade game, X-Men, the Capcom series games that were only digital. I'd like to make those. I think it'd be fun to make those into arcades and make that kind of an experience and something fun to do. Breathe new life into them and try something new. I think it'd be really fun. But those projects are time-consuming and expensive. So if I can, as number 2, purge games, I can take that and carry that into these projects. And I'm looking forward to that. And going into number 4, being more selective in games. Kind of focus really where I want to look at. And this is, again, something that's carried over from 2019. I've been very picky and not falling into just, oh, that game looks cool, and I may want to get into that and then never touch it again. Or never touch it at all. And be able to focus on one game at a time and say, okay, I'm going to spend 40, 80, 60, 100 hours on this game and really get into it and see if I can make new memories for myself and really enjoy and look back and be like, yeah, I'm glad I spent the time on that game, and it's something I'm going to revisit again, and I'm looking forward to it and jump into it and not just have 5, 6, 7, 8 games all at once that I'm trying to kind of work my way through. My time is limited. I only have the evenings and certain days on the weekends that I can actually sit down and throw 2-3 hours at a time at a game, and not buy into the limited print games, and be very choosy. Still focus on the shmup games, anything from Sega Atlas, Xseed, and the IPs that I really enjoy, like the Yakuza series, Bayonetta, No More Heroes, some of those franchises that I really enjoy, and not just get random ones just because I can. That way it cuts down on my clutter, and I save that shelf space or room for other things. Like, for instance, if I want a new chair, something that would be nice. And then lastly, for my goal of 2020, I'd like to stream more. I do consistently, or as much as I can, every Monday still stream for Megavisions. And that's the other thing, is I find that I've actually been streaming for quite a lot of time, but a lot of it hasn't been for my own personal reasons. I've streamed for tournaments, I've streamed for events, like I said, Megavisions I stream for. Every once in a while I get the chance to stream on this YouTube channel, but it's very few and far in between. And I still have my Twitch channel too, but I haven't streamed on that in months. Almost 6 or 7 months now, I think. Maybe wrong, maybe it's been 4 or 5 months. But it's been quite a long time. And I'm trying to invest more in that. I'm upgrading my hardware. I actually just bought a new PC last month for myself that is much faster and allows me to render videos better, and has a lot more tools and features available to me to help with that. I'd like to get around to upgrading my webcam. This webcam has served me many years of videos and streaming, but it's aged. It only does up to 720p. I'd like to get something that has a crisper image at 1080p, or even invest in a camera if I can, an actual legit camera that I can connect to and do video recordings on. I'd like to get a bigger Stream Deck. I have the Stream Deck Mini, and I'd like to maybe upgrade to a larger one, or focus on my lighting a little bit more, or even invest in other things that I can help with. Like for my arcade projects, I'm also looking into getting a super gun, and that super gun would allow me to stream arcade games, because I'm not seeing a lot of people do that, and I think it'd be kind of unique and cool to be able to share those arcade-only games with people. And I don't have a way of doing that right now, and I think that'd be something that I can incorporate into. So that's kind of what I'm looking at doing. It's just general updates. I also have a new mic that I bought 4 months ago that I haven't used yet, because I can't decide what boom arm that I want for it, or what interface I want to use for it. So I've got to kind of decide, and there's some, like, going to Guitar Center and kind of trying them out and looking at them in person before I actually invest in that, and getting that type of hardware and making sure it's something I want, and not just a temporary upgrade that I'm going to get now, and then a year from now I'm going to have to look at getting something bigger for my needs. Because streaming isn't cheap either. There's also time investment, just like making YouTube videos. You go into making your layouts, your graphics. When you start to stream, you prep everything, and you make sure your PC is working, that your consoles are working, the game is running as it should be, your sound levels are good. All of that stuff goes into that. And that's stuff I have to focus on. So, but enough rambling from me. Those are my 5 goals for 2020. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Are you looking into collecting for certain systems come 2020? Will you be focusing on like the PS5 or the Xbox Series X coming out at the end of the year? Are you going to start collecting for other systems? Or maybe you're going to start to get away from other collecting of games of certain things? Let me know. But as always, guys, I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.